Welcome to Travolting, hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore, covering the boy in the plastic bubble. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Travolting. Thank you all for joining us today. As always, my name is Jeff Sweeney.
And I'm Stuart Elmore.
Thank you all for joining us here for our third episode, which I've already said. I am very tired.
Why are you tired, Jeff?
It has been a crazy week. You know, a lot has changed since we recorded the first two episodes, which you folks are listening to 1 month in the future from now.
Yeah.
In our first episode, we talked about the promise of this being a Biden-era podcast. There was, in fact, an inauguration, and we were making good on that promise.
Indeed.
I also said that we were unemployed filmmakers, and now I am a employed filmmaker.
Fuck you.
So yeah, fun stuff. You probably don't care. You're just here to listen to us talk about the most exciting movie ever made, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. It is Travolta's first starring role.
Amazing
for our
start.
We're picking up about a year after The Devil's Reign and Carrie. Is that correct?
Yep. I don't know when Devil's Reign came out and Carrie came out within 1975, but yeah, this is the year after. So
we're coming off of his years with Welcome Back, Kotter, the television show we are not covering.
We are not going to be covering
that. We are not covering.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, and we're checking in on The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, a 76 film. Was released on ABC. It's a television film, November 12th, 1976, and is directed by Randall Kleiser. Who I did not know directed Grease.
Yes.
So this is a touchstone film, not just for... It's a touchdown for most of Travolta's career in certain ways.
You might say he was greasing up the wheel for John Travolta to get rolling. He wanted to keep him preserved in this little plastic bubble before really throwing him into the Saturday Night Fever, man.
How are we going to record 66 episodes of this show?
I'm going to make a pun for every one, every single one. So
people have deleted us from their podcast threads at this point.
We have 2 listeners, but hey, to those 2 listeners, we love you.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Baker. Lol, if Baker is listening to this. Hi, Baker. But yeah, this is coming after this 1975 run with Devil's Reign, Welcome Back, Kotter, and Carrie. And so now this is sort of picking up speed to when he is getting some recognition.
Becoming a movie star. This is his first starring role. And before we get into the plot, Jeff, how'd you feel like he did with his first starring role? It's the beginning. It's a little rough. It's a little rough. Oddly enough, though, did not hate the movie. I actually thought it was kind of charming.
I didn't hate the movie either. And honestly, I think it was because the storyline actually made a little bit of sense to me. But at any rate, sorry, I'm just adjusting some levels here. I'll cut that part out. Okay, but his acting, he goes from this to Saturday Night Fever. And let me just tell you, we're going to talk about Saturday Night Fever in another episode. But when we're just comparing the acting, it's very different.
It is a wide chasm he jumps from this to Saturday Night Fever.
Yes.
He doesn't have that much. We'll get into the movie.
Yeah.
But he is literally separated by a wall of plastic from any of his co-stars for most of this movie.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the psychological, struggles of somebody not being touched by another human for 16 years. The character's 16 years old, right?
I'm going to put out a hot take.
Yeah.
This is the most prescient movie about 2020 I've ever seen.
Oh, wait till we get there. We need to get there. Okay.
It is a movie about how one man is so committed. He is willing to break quarantine and potentially die of an infectious disease just to get laid.
This is a movie we are covering, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Yeah.
1976.
Directed by Randall Kleiser.
Yes.
So, Jeff, shall we
bringing back the old bits?
Yes, the old bits.
From 1 week ago.
Shall we get started on talking through the plot of this movie, Jeff?
Yes. Let's get started on it.
So, first things first is how quick it starts.
Oh, yeah. This movie just goes. Additionally, this movie is available on both YouTube
For free.
And Amazon Prime for free.
It's on the public domain.
It is part of the public domain, so you can watch it anywhere.
How is it in the public domain?
You can make fan edits of this movie if you wish, and cannot be legally charged.
I didn't think about that.
But yeah, this movie's out there. If you're listening to this episode, having not seen the movie, we're not going to tell you have to watch the movie. But I would recommend watching this movie and future movies.
I would recommend this under Carrie, but over Devil's Reign.
Yes, I would. No, Devil's Reign rules. But I would recommend watching this movie if you have 90 minutes to kill one afternoon. It's pretty short. It's fun. It's a nice little throwback. It has a wild cameo in it, which, let's get into.
Yeah.
Because the movie, as you said, just starts.
It really just to start, because the first 30 seconds, it's like, well, the test results are in. You are pregnant.
Yeah, there's a couple played by Debbie Hyland and Diana Hyland, my bad, and Robert Reed.
Yep.
Who are just hanging out in their front lawn, and a doctor comes to their house, walks up to them and is like, "You got the test results back. You're pregnant."
It's just... This is like not even 30 seconds.
Very strange place to receive that information.
They're birthing into a new era.
Yes. And they're sitting there and they start discussing their trepidations about having this child.
Yeah.
Because apparently they've tried to go for 3 before.
Yeah.
The first one was born without an immunity.
Yeah, that's been a reoccurring issue with their kids, it seems like.
2 of them didn't make it to birth.
Yeah.
They were either stillborn or miscarried.
Mm-hmm.
The first one made it out, but died shortly after because he was born without an immunity to anything, got a disease, and could not fight it.
Yeah.
So they get this information. They're talking about if they want to go through with having this kid.
Yeah, they're kind of struggling through it right now.
Because if they have it, there's a possibility he could be sick too and die, and they would lose another.
Yeah.
But do they want to give up on their dream of having a family?
I am very uncultured, and I apologize to the majority of our audience, but Jeff, is this before or after Roe v. Wade? Because if they wanted to get an abortion, like, would that even been like possible for them, I wonder? And obviously would not have been portrayed on film. No way.
So yeah, this will be after Roe v. Wade, and I am under the impression abortion was legal prior to Roe v. Wade, and the challenge was getting rid of it.
Yeah.
So thankfully it's after that course, but also thankfully for them, they choose not to go through with it. Otherwise we would not have this movie.
Right.
It would just be the plastic bubble.
Yeah. So at that point, then we are then transported to a hospital scene, assumably 9 months in the future, where she's going to be delivering her baby.
Yeah. Well, we got to go through the credits first.
Oh, okay.
We got to go through the credits.
Let's go through the credits.
This is extremely important.
Let's go through the credits.
Because you're just watching this ABC television movie, and the credits, and it's like, yeah, John Travolta as Todd, Glenn O'Connor, Robert Reed, Diana Hyland. And then it says, a very special appearance by former astronaut Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin's in this movie. He
the star of Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Jeff, would you say he made like a rough landing into this film?
Yes. That was when I was like, this movie's going to be much more interesting, because I kind of wrote this off.
It was a small step for Buzz's career, that took large.
You need to stop. But
one follower lost.
Everyone has deleted the episode.
Yes.
But no, Buzz Aldrin. The second I saw he was in this movie, that's when I was like, this is going to be a lot more interesting than I'm giving it credit for. And I kind of got a little more zoned in on that one.
It's actually a pretty decent scene if I don't.
It's a good scene he appears in.
Yeah.
But that appeared in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, we cut to a hospital.
Then we go to the hospital
where the doctor is assuring the father there's 20 students watching this birth happen.
Yeah,
it's kind of an
that
uncomfortable
down.
position.
I wrote
to
that
be
down
in
too.
as-
It's like a Grey's Anatomy episode when they're all in the gallery watching this happen, and I just can't help it. Like, she's giving birth, folks. Like,
yeah,
can
and
we clear
the dad eventually asks, "Can everyone leave?" And they do, thankfully.
Yeah.
But the doctor's like, "Don't worry." What is the doctor's name? 'Cause he's an important
reoccurring character.
Yeah. Dr. Gunther.
Ralph Bellamy. I don't know.
Yeah, as Dr. Gunther.
We'll call him Old Ralph.
Old Ralph.
But Old Ralph says one of my favorite lines in this entire movie. He goes over the talkback mic into the actual operating room and says, "Begin the cesarean." In the most robotic doctor voice I've ever heard, just like, "Begin the cesarean."
and they're like, the room is sealed off. No outside air is getting in. We're removing everyone from the observation room. There's no chance of, in case this baby is born with an autoimmune disease, that he will become infected.
Yeah. And so then obviously we do get a John Travolta baby.
Yep. We get the boy is born and immediately placed into a plastic bubble. Hence the title.
Hence the title. And he is indeed born with no immunities,
yes,
obviously.
very unfortunately for the family.
Yeah.
So they ask the doctor, what does this mean? And he insists that treatment has come a long way since their first son, who passed away, and tells them that they will be able to hold him at the hospital, keep him in a plastic bubble. It's more of like a plastic fortress.
Yeah.
But they can keep him there, keep him safe, isolated from any germs, essentially.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of trivia I'd like to introduce into this real quick. So Diana Hyland, who plays the mom.
Oh, yes. This I'm aware of.
And John Travolta, who is 18 years old during the filming of this movie, actually had an affair. And
it wasn't just an affair. They were officially going for it.
They were officially like going for it. And I think this happened on the set of Saturday Night Fever, that she actually died a year later of breast cancer.
Yeah, she passed away.
Yeah. And it's like, just, we say that because this is like one of the many like, catastrophic events that happen in John Travolta's life, because he's been through a lot, and this is like one of the first indicators of like, oh,
this guy's gonna have a bit of a tragic life.
Yeah, he has a bit of a tragic life, and this is just one of the inklings of that starts with this movie,
Yes.
And Diana Hyland,
plays his mother in this movie.
Plays his mother. I'm not saying there's a mommy issue there. She is 41. He is 18. I'm not saying she's a cougar, but anyway, continuing. So then we get the 4-year-old.
Yes, who looks a lot like John Travolta.
As a 4-year-old?
Yeah, like the kid playing 4-year-old Todd in this.
Have you seen 4-year-old pictures of John Travolta, Jeff?
No. But this kid looks like grown-up John Travolta.
For folks listening, I'm giving Jeff a really interesting look.
Yeah, he looks very confused, but
I'm very confused by this comment here.
Look up a picture of this child playing young John Travolta and the boy in the plastic bubble and tell me it does not look like a young John Travolta.
I mean,
because he does.
We don't really get a lot of close-ups of this young fellow kid.
We get a lot. What are you talking about? He's in like 10 minutes of the movie.
But he's always in a plastic bubble.
Yeah, we get close-ups through the plastic bubble.
Does it go through does the camera actually go within the plastic bubble? I always thought the perspective was outside the plastic bubble.
We get inside the bubble a little bit.
We do?
Yes.
A little bit?
This is bubble chat.
Just don't get too close to that bubble.
Yeah. Try my best.
Okay.
Anyway.
He becomes a media sensation.
Yes, he becomes... Well, first, he, as you said, he spends 4 years in the hospital. And the parents decide they want to bring him home. Because they feel like he'll have a better environment there. He can, live and play and be with his family all the time instead of only when he can come visit the hospital.
Yeah. Something that's very important for the folks listening is like, those who haven't seen this movie, don't think of this like these are parents coddling their kids, because it's very different. This is actually like, in the movie world, he's born with no immunities. So scientifically, if this kid went outside this plastic bubble, he would die. So it was just an interesting thought. When I watched this movie, I thought my perspective of the narrative was going to be how he was going to have to come out of the confines of his strict parenting. And it's actually different than that, because his parents are actually decent and good.
His parents are great.
His parents are good people, really good people. So I think that's something to keep in mind throughout like talking in the movie, is that, it's not like he has to break through the constraints of his evil parenting. Like, they're good people.
Yeah, the bubble becomes a metaphor for something else.
We're about to burst that bubble for you folks.
Yes. So, yes, he's 4 years old, and he comes home, and he becomes a media sensation, as you said. The media is all outside of the house waiting for this boy in a plastic bubble to show up, because they want to see him, they want to get a picture of him. make him famous.
And then enters
his next door neighbor, Gina.
Gina,
a little girl that's actually what inspires them to bring him home, is they see Gina, who's 4 as well, playing with her parents, and they want their child to be home as well.
Yeah.
So they bring him home. Gina comes over and like licks the bubble.
Classic Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst Spider-Man move right there.
Yes. And he sees her on the other side, and it's the beginnings of a bond that will last eons to come. My notes for this, I just wrote like they're gonna fuck. It's
I wrote down meets his future girlfriend.
Yes, it's
like that is without a doubt.
It's the 70s. This is a TV movie. We all know where it was going the second that happened.
Yeah, immediately.
Yes.
So, and then there is a choking scene. Am I skipping ahead?
Oh no, that is correct.
That is like the next thing after is that this kid is choking within his bubble, and his parents like panic and they go out. He's like, "What's he choking on? What's he choking on?" And they have to reach through these like rubber glove things that go through the plastic bubble without
like,
penetrating
give him
it.
the Heimlich. And it turns out it was the eye of the teddy bear.
The eye of the teddy bear.
He decided to eat it.
This kid really is
4.
dumb.
You should have figured that out.
He's really dumb.
No, I'm not gonna be mean to this poor child.
I am.
But it is unfortunate that he chose to eat the eye of the teddy bear.
Imagine if like he died in the movie, and there was still a whole other like
then there's 80 minutes.
80 minutes left of the movie.
Just the bubble.
Just the
This movie's actually based on true events.
Yeah, it is.
It's based on 2 cases. Mm-hmm. 2 kids named David Vedder and Teddy DeVita, who both had similar immunities and had to live in a bubble.
Yeah.
They both unfortunately passed away when they were very young, which this movie doesn't really... It's kind of more of a fantastical version of those events.
Yeah, obviously. We don't want to get too far ahead, but it does kind of end on an ambiguous note, but also not so ambiguous, if you catch our drift.
It's very unambiguous what happens.
Yeah, it is pretty unambiguous.
Also, the score for this in the first like 10 minutes sounds like the score to Alien. It's very strange. It's very creepy.
I did not make that connection, but interesting.
It becomes very like stereotypical like hype 70s theme later on, but at the beginning it's very Alien.
Yeah. So after the choking scene...
Yes, they rescue their son and they realize it's going to be a lot more difficult than they had hoped for.
Yeah, they can't just keep him in this square, rectangular bubble.
Yeah, they need to broaden his horizons.
Yeah.
And that's when we cut to...
The big room.
Yeah, the big room with old John Travolta.
Oh, I thought there was one more scene with like the kid in the bigger room bubble where his future girlfriend comes up. And she's like, "Why are you behind the bubble?" And
I mean, I think that was the licking scene.
Oh, that was the licking scene. You're absolutely right. So then we
watched this movie a few days ago.
A few days ago, yeah, try 5 days ago. So 12 years later,
he certainly is a boy in a plastic bubble.
John Travolta's hair.
But he's now played by John Travolta with a luscious lock.
I rated it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10?
Because
I mean, yeah, it's very loose.
Yes, that is perfect way to describe it. It is a little bit loose.
And I mean, he talks about in this movie he can't take a shower, so you got to cut him some slack.
That's true.
I wonder if John Travolta went method and just didn't shower during production of this movie.
Oh, you know he did. He probably lived in a plastic bubble.
He probably lived.
He probably wouldn't leave the set. He's like, "John, we're over here. It's like it's done. We got to go home." It's like, "No, I'm too much in the character." It's like, "But your union rep says you need to, take your 12-hour break now." And it's
like,
no.
I love when weirdo actors like decide to sleep. Like the time Nick Cage slept in Dracula's castle for a week for whatever movie he was filming.
That sounds amazing.
Craziness.
Yeah. I said I rated John Travolta's hair at 8 out of 10. Carrie put 9 out of 10 because that's not as loose as it is in this movie.
But it's
more form-fitted.
It is John Travolta now wearing incredibly short shorts.
Yes.
On a t-shirt.
I mean, he's at home. It's like he's comfortable, right?
But we're brought into the scene by... we cut to Gina as well, who's now also 18. They're 18 in
16.
This movie. 16? I thought they were 18.
Because it was 4 years later after the birth scene, and then it was 12 years later after that choking scene.
But they graduate at the end.
They do graduate at the end.
They're 18. They're 18.
Did we just find a continuity error, though?
I thought maybe it said 14 at the beginning.
I'm pretty sure it said 12 years later. I wrote it down, Jeff.
Lame.
So I think there's a continuity here. Unless if the events of the movie take place over 2 years, which is possible.
It's 14. I think you just misread it.
I don't
anyway, I mean, you can literally bring the movie up on YouTube if you want. But anyway, we're getting pedantic.
We are getting pedantic.
Gina and her friends are running around in their backyard, and they decide they're going to sneak a smoke. So they pick the single most obvious spot in the world. They walk next to a tree.
Yep.
Next to a lake where there's clearly a bunch of people on like paddle boats.
But they're by a tree, Jeff.
Yeah. Next to a window where she says John Travolta looks out of most of the day. And she's like, this is a good spot for us to be secret. So she and her friends, they all start smoking.
They're smoking, not the devil's lettuce, they're smoking tobacco, which is...
Yeah, just cigarettes.
Yeah, it's just cigarettes. Still evil.
And they're like, oh, we're so naughty. And then she's like, yeah, that weird boy watches me from that window, but I don't see him up there today. Cut to inside the window where John Travolta is standing several feet back with binoculars.
Yep.
Because he has discovered the perfect way to be a peeping Tom without being spotted.
Well, we're going to get into that a lot.
That is the beginning of me thinking maybe this movie's a little creepy.
Yes. It's going to get there even more. So, yeah, John Travolta is...
So he's creeping on his next door neighbor, who presumably he's been doing for the 14 years prior.
Yeah.
He goes in, and then he just starts watching the news, because I guess all he can do is watch the news, look out his window, and read
Play
a book.
music, do the exercises thing.
He does a very nice dance later in the movie.
He does, yeah.
But he checks the news, and they're talking about the Skylab they're putting in space.
Yeah. Hint, hint, foreshadowing.
Yeah, a hint that he is interested in space.
Yeah.
And space travel.
Right. Yeah. And I think isn't there in the newscaster, Buzz Aldrin makes an appearance in that one too?
Yeah, I think they might mention that Buzz Aldrin's going to like oversee the launch of the Skylab or something
like that, yeah.
But then his dad walks in, and who is turned into Tom Selleck in the past. Like,
don't do that.
No, his dad walks in. He has like a perm,
yeah,
and this big bushy mustache. He looks like Tom Selleck.
He's amazing looking. Don't
and
you?
He looks really good.
Yeah,
he looks really good.
Yeah, I think he looks great.
No, he looks good, and
he's a dilf.
He's insisting that he's like, yeah, son, you how you doing up here right now? And John Travolta's depressed because he's watching all these kids outside have a good time. He spent his entire life in this room.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't specifically remember what happens right after that point, but he's inspired through a bunch of it and watching Gina out his window that he wants to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks his doctor, and his doctor said, well, we can figure something out if you want to. And he chooses to go along with it. And he goes to school.
Yeah.
Where they have set up
this is my favorite one. Yeah, because this is the video chat, which is reminiscent of our 2020 Zoom call classes.
Very prescient movie. So they have the first step of him going to school is that he'll be enrolled and he will essentially zoom in. He'll be on like one of those old push cart TVs that they had in all the elementary and high schools.
Yes.
With a laser looking camera on top of it. It is retro. It is a big camera.
He can move it with like a joystick, and it can like look around the class and see all those other people. Also, something that we forgot to talk about was when the doctor and Travolta are like playing chess in his room beforehand.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the school thing, there's a little bit here where he says like he has to talk over this intercom.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why do you have to talk over that? Like we can hear you either way. Does it make you feel like a bigger man or something?"
Yeah.
And it was just like
they're all being very rude to this boy trapped in a plastic bubble.
Yeah. Out of all the developmental disabilities this boy should have developed, he turned out all right.
Yeah, I mean,
as creepy as he is.
Yeah, I mean, he has obviously some problems from being trapped inside this bubble.
For a long time.
And all his family's like, you need to grow up. His doctor's like, yeah, you need to stop acting like a child. Stop using the intercom. You need to go to school.
Yeah.
So it's good in the sense that he goes there. But his ulterior motive is he just wants to get closer to Gina, even if it is by a camera.
Yeah. I wrote down 45 years ahead of its time when they rolled that TV into class.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, man.
Yep.
Flashbacks, dude.
People in quarantine, video chatting into class.
Also, this is when I found out that we have a special guest appearance from an other John Travolta film that makes their way into this film.
Yes.
Norma
from Carrie.
From Carrie.
Miss Red Hat herself, who we talked about a lot last week with Matt Abaldi.
Yes.
appears. Yeah, she's in this movie playing one of his classmates.
They can't get away from each other.
Not a big role, but she is present.
Yep.
I was like, is that Norma?
Yeah.
It's not like she's a big role in either movie. But
No, she's not.
But it's just a kind of an interesting moment of John Travolta carrying someone over.
Yeah. Well, she's like at John Travolta Devil's Reign level right now, whereas John Travolta is not in Devil's Reign level right now. He's in Boy in the Plastic Bubble level right now.
He is Boy in the Plastic Bubble level.
Because he's
a
a star.
In the plastic bubble.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, so then Travolta...
So he's in the class. He's video chatting from they set up his TV in the front of the classroom.
Weird spot.
Yeah, very weird spot. You think they put him in the back, but I guess they want all the kids to be able to see him.
Okay, I kind of get that.
Which I suppose is the logic.
Is he gonna have to? Does that camera have 360 turn capabilities? Like, is he gonna be able to see the chalkboard if the teacher's like doing something?
Would presume not, but who knows?
That is really dumb, though. I mean, if anything, put him 90 degrees against like the wall. Put him like perpendicular with the wall or something.
Yeah, so we can see like the full
class and the
view.
chalkboard. Yeah, that just seemed. I mean, it makes sense for the story why they put him there, because later on, then he starts to troll his teacher.
No, that happens very soon.
Yeah.
The movie kind of leads you on a red herring into thinking at this point that John Travolta is going to be left out of the class.
Yeah.
He's not going to fit in due to being trapped in his bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So the teacher starts lecturing about presidential histories. And he's like, if Harry Truman was the fair deal and Lyndon Johnson was the great society and et cetera, what would FDR be? And meanwhile, around the classroom, kids are like making noises whenever he turns their back to them.
Yeah.
And he's like, which one of you did that? And yada, yada, yada.
This is like The Incredibles when Dash is like putting a tack under that teacher's like seat.
It's the classic like messing with the teacher bit.
Yeah.
But then the twist is he like looks at John Travolta and he's like, did you see anything? And Travolta shrugs.
I don't know.
The teacher turns back around and John Travolta pulls out a pair of fake glasses resembling the teacher with the
like
fake nose.
The nose and the mustache thing.
And does like a yuck face.
Yeah.
And the entire classroom laughs. John Travolta he's fitting in. He's finding his people even if it is a little childish.
He's got a sense of humor in some way.
He's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, who did that? Who's laughing? Why are y'all laughing? You read a paper. Yada, yada.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a real huckster in my, real yuckster in my.
I wrote down Zoom trolling.
Yes. Very successfully beginning.
Yeah.
We go back to his room. Even though he had success in class, he still wishes he could see people in person.
Yeah.
He has a hamster in this room, which is in itself its own plastic bubble. Honestly, give this hamster best supporting actor. This hamster is fantastic in this movie.
Do we see it after that scene, though?
Yeah, it's present in the room. It's a bit of set deck for the rest of it.
Okay. That's interesting. But yeah, I would, a bubble within a bubble. What a life.
A bubble within a bubble.
That hamster is going to have a crazy immune system.
Yeah. So he's seeing his own, himself through this hamster and how trapped he feels. And now he's just running a maze over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to him dancing. He's very impressive with the dancing. But it's around that point where Gina
comes in.
Gina comes in.
Yep.
She is lounging down by the beach in a swimsuit, and her mom tells her, go invite Todd out.
Like he can come.
Like he can come. It's actually kind of rude.
It is a little bit rude. Like if I was...
She's like, that boy next door, I heard he went to school. Invite him out here.
Thanks,
a
Bob.
little rude.
A little rude.
Rude.
So Gina walks in and invites him to the beach on the 4th of July.
Yes. And says, do you want to come next week to this 4th of July party we're having?
Yeah.
John Travolta's he's taken with her.
Oh my God.
His eyes are drifting.
He's
a little creepy.
He's singing Summer Lovin' before the movie Grease came out.
He's singing Summer Lovin'. He's like, yeah, I'd love to, He's like, yeah. And his parents are excited that he's willing to go outside and do something.
Again, very supportive parents.
Yeah, his parents are very supportive. They just want him to be happy.
Yeah.
Which is rather lovely.
And so the beach scene.
Yes. Well, first he commits to it and he tells his parents, yes, I'm going. He just loves Gina so much.
Does he say that early?
It's very no. I'm saying he obviously.
He obviously loves
Gina.
I was
very
like,
much.
he didn't say he loves Gina like that early in the movie.
It is a star-crossed romance.
Yeah, it is star-crossed.
So we go to the beach.
Oh, this is one of my favorite.
Is quite a sequence.
I love this scene.
He is in a portable bubble, which they're hauling around like the Ark of the Covenant.
Is it even as tall as he is? Like, can he stretch out his feet?
He needs to lay down in it. He cannot stand up.
He can't stand up.
He's like, it's like he's in a like one of those like layout beach chairs.
Yeah.
Being hauled around by his like slaves.
He's got like maybe 3 feet of headroom.
He looks like one of those emperors from like like an old movie who's carried around by like the peasants.
Yeah, instead of like gold, it's plastic.
Yeah, except it's a plastic bubble instead of a gold throne.
And so one of my already I can tell this scene's gonna be great is when Gina arrives on a fucking horse.
Oh yeah, she
rides in on a horse.
Where did this thing come? I want to talk about the horse. Where did it? At no point is it said that Gina rides a horse.
Nope.
That she is a particular fan of horseback riding.
Nope.
She just zooms in on this horse down the beach.
Yep.
She brought it to the beach apparently.
Yeah.
And like she jumps off of it very lusciously, and John Travolta's smitten. He's staring.
He is summer loving.
He's wearing his swimsuit inside of this bubble.
I forgot he was wearing his swimsuit inside. Like, you're not going swimming,
They're just
pal.
gonna throw the bubble in the ocean, and
and then there's no leak, so he's just gonna drift.
He'll eventually suffocate.
Jeff, that's the movie. He drifts off into his bubble like at sea, and he's stuck out there, and it becomes Castaway, but boy in the plastic bubble.
Castaway in the plastic bubble.
We need to call Disney.
Boy in the plastic
We
Castaway.
need to call Universal. Warner Brothers. Come on,
But whoever released Castaway and or the boy, I mean ABC did.
Yeah. I wrote down.
Contact us. We'll sell you our pitch.
Yeah. Boy, Castaway, boy in the plastic bubble.
Rates for us are $10 an hour. For the 1 hour we'll pitch.
For yourself, bro. $10 an hour
for the one pitch. I'll take $10 for this.
For the one pitch. So I wrote down, ironic that he's trapped in a bubble on Independence Day.
Yes,
it's a nice little symbolism there.
Nice little symbol.
Nice job, Randall Kleiser.
This movie's full of a lot of like those little fun symbolism bits that I mean they're only on the nose. Like there's the hamster being trapped in the 4th of July. It's a lot of on the nose obvious stuff.
Right.
But it gets the point across. It's a television film. You got to be accessible at any point to jump into it.
Yeah.
It all serves the goal.
Yeah. So when Gina comes off the horse, at first she goes to a group of friends, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Because it's there when something's said. And then she goes to John Travolta.
Yes. She talks with her friends and they're like, "Oh, I dare." They're doing like dares.
Yeah,
they're like, "I dare you to go talk to Todd." And Gina's like, "Sure, I'll do it." And so she goes over. She just starts talking to Todd.
She's being all flirty.
Todd's an old horn dog, so he's into it.
Gina's laying it on thick.
Yes,
she's laying it on thick. Like she's
like, "Do you love me?" and all that stuff. Oh my
gosh, yeah. And
it's very straightforward. She's going for maximum impact on this poor guy.
Yeah.
And then, he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm trapped in here, but I'd love you."
Yeah. And this is where I wrote down, like, I can't tell if Travolta's acting is like just bad or if he's like leaning into the childlike personality, because while she's giving him these things, he's just like, "Oh, really?" And he's got the weirdest face as he says it too. He's like, "No, really?"
Like as mean as Gina's being to him, John Travolta's a little creepy. Todd is a little bit of a creep.
He's a little bit of a creep. So then they hold hands.
Yeah, they hold hands through like the little arm bubble extendo thing.
Yeah.
And then she laughs and runs away. And he's like, "Gina, what's that?"
Where are you going?
And she's like, "Oh, you didn't think I meant that, did you?" And then he starts like crying and screaming.
And then he starts crying, screaming, and panicking, and he starts thrashing around. He's like, "Get out!"
And his dad's like, "Get, sit down!" And like force him. And he's like, "I just want to go to the hospital. I don't want to go home."
Which like that, I also wrote down, like, why does he go to the hospital for? Like,
just because he doesn't want to be at home because he doesn't want to see Gina.
What a spoiled rotten brat.
Yeah, so they bring him to the hospital where his doctor tells him that they've had great strides in immune like protective care. And he now has a roommate
named
Roy Slater. Roy Slater.
We love it.
Who's a little punk.
He is a little punk, but at that point I wrote down should have been a gay love story.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would have actually that would have been the
I mean, come on.
It actually would be a choice for this movie where the person he thought he loved turns out to be mean. He goes to the hospital, he meets his true love there. It would have been a move. I would have supported that movie over what we get.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because that would have been
him and Roy Slater. Oh my goodness, man.
Two people who were both in bubbles.
Yeah.
Kind of finding a love in that way.
Imagine like the montage scenes.
The problem is Roy sucks. Roy is terrible.
He is terrible.
He is a punk.
He's like, why
he's
would
a charlatan.
you talk to me?
Yeah, John Travolta doesn't want to talk to him because his heart was just broken. And Roy just starts screaming. He's so mad.
And he's crying. And John Travolta's
like, okay, I'll talk to you if you just shut up. So he talks to him. And then that's about when I realized this movie is about being an incel. Okay. This is a movie about a guy who is so mad that his next door neighbor won't sleep with him that he consigns himself to the hospital, like pretty much wants to die. Mm-hmm. It is, I mean, on one hand, I understand he's isolated, but this is a little much. It is a little much,
and he is getting a little bit too angry about it.
Yeah, but then it cuts from this scene with Roy, who we never see again.
No, that was it.
His roommate is no longer in the movie.
Well, he died.
Sad. Maybe he did. Who knows?
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
But that's when we cut to a shot of a television screen. Mm-hmm. And it's Gina's watching the news.
Yeah.
With her boyfriend at her house, and she's like, "Wait, I know this guy on the news." And it is Todd at the hospital being visited by astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who only appears in this movie and on a news broadcast in a television screen in this other scene.
Yep.
It's a very strange cameo for the guy.
It is a really interesting cameo because, they filmed that. Yeah. And do they film it thinking that they were going to use that actual shot?
They filmed it, put it on a VHS tape, put it in this player, and then filmed Gina watching it.
It's a weird choice.
I'm glad Buzz Aldrin showed up.
It's a weird choice.
I hope he got paid well. I love the man. He's cool.
He is really cool. You ever met him?
No, remember that time he punched someone who's like, someone was like, "You didn't go to the moon." He slugged him.
I love that.
This is not like 6 years ago.
I love that.
This is like old Buzz Aldrin.
I love that so much. Old Buzz Aldrin doesn't deal with any shit.
Remember that year where Buzz Aldrin just was in a lot of things?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was only in like 2 things, but he was in Transformers 3.
Wasn't he on like one of the Armageddon or what was the other Impact or
Deep Impact? Maybe
was he in one of those?
I don't remember, but he was in Mass Effect 3, the video game.
Jesus Christ!
Where it turns out he's been telling the story of this whole series to his granddaughter.
Oh.
So Buzz Aldrin, he was in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, where he tells Optimus Prime, "From one space traveler to another, it's an honor." It is
so the boy in the plastic bubble
from one space traveler to another.
We can't get into Transformers, bro. Not today. It's only episode 3.
It's an honor. And then Optimus Prime says,
"All right, so
the honor is mine."
Then there's a scene afterwards where Gina
Optimus
approaches.
Prime comes in.
Stop. Gina asks Todd's dad if she can help. Now
she feels bad.
She feels bad. She feels guilty. And
but then the ulterior motive comes out.
Then the ulterior motive comes out for money.
The dad's like, "How much do you want?" She's like, "Well, yeah, I need about $10 an hour."
$10. It is an hour.
It's like $10 a day, I think.
I was like, for 1970s, $10 an hour.
Gina agrees she's gonna collect all of his books and like help him study every night, in exchange for. I'm looking at Buzz Aldrin's filmography right now.
Stop.
I'm getting off of it.
So Gina and Todd, like, they meet up and they're talking about this whole, like, I'm going to help you study because I feel really bad. And that's when they start getting a little bit closer in the relationship. Like, honestly, if I were Todd, I'd dump her. Bro, she broke your heart once.
I mean,
she won't
was
do it again.
Very mean.
She was very mean to him. And
but
I would just not go back to that.
He's still very smitten.
He's still very simpy.
Yes, he's very simpy.
He's a simp lord. And so
Buzz Aldrin was not in Deep Impact, but he was in a Simpsons episode called Deep Space Homer.
Great. So
He's on Dancing with the Star.
Jeff, get off of Buzz Aldrin's filmography. Stop it. Stop.
Okay.
Get off.
I'm getting off.
Get off. He's still on it. I can see the reflection of your glasses. You haven't clicked off of it.
Important news update though.
What?
The Blacklist was just renewed for season 9 by NBC.
Why? Let's get back to the boy in the plastic bubble, bro. So, Gina and Todd
James Spader about to be in a plastic bubble.
start getting closer.
Yes. So she starts helping him with school.
She starts helping him with school.
Do you know James Spader hasn't done anything besides The Blacklist for like 6 years?
Didn't he do Age of Ultron?
That was the last thing he'd been in that has not been The Blacklist. The dude's just rolling in it.
I mean, I liked him better as Robert California, personally.
I haven't seen that season. I mean, I like the lizard line.
I'm the fucking Lizard
I like
King.
that.
I will not be blackmailed by some ineffectual debutante.
What
I don't know the entire thing.
if Robert California was in The Boy in the Plastic Bubble?
What if he was the boy in the plastic bubble?
Yeah, what if he was the teacher? And that part where he's like puts the glasses on, no, he cheats and the teacher turns around and he's just like,
says,
I will not be blackmailed.
I will not be blackmailed by some ineffectual debutante. You want to start a street fight, bring it on. But you need to know one thing. I'm the fucking Lizard King. What?
I mean, I would watch that cut.
Yeah, I would watch that
Release the Spader cut.
Absolutely. So there's a test in the class.
Yeah, we just, yeah.
You see, folks, I'm the one trying to keep us on topic here.
Well, no, there was, first we do get another scene with the horse, in which Gina's just riding it around in the backyard and Todd's watching her before she tells him that she's going to, because like every moment with this horse, I'm just
ties the horse up to that like post like it's nothing.
Yeah, like it's just in the backyard.
Like
it's present.
It's just a lot of money worth that horse, no big deal.
But
not like it runs off or out $100,000.
So she's gonna help Todd, and she's like, I'll get your books. I'm going to study. He's like, you're not tricking me again. He's like, you're gonna trick me. I can tell. But she eventually convinces him her meanings are genuine, and he agrees. Yeah, you can help me and come by and
like, bitch, I'm making money off of this.
And he's like, yeah. If you want to come by, that's fine. To this woman, he obviously has a great lust for.
He's simping. He's simping.
Oh no, and that's why he's staring at the wall listening to classical music when she comes in.
Yeah.
That's right. He's being so dramatic. And
what was he? He was listening to like Lacrimosa or something like that.
Yeah, some like really like
very sad,
classical. He's landed on a little thick.
Very thick. He probably knew she was coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, what can I do to like make it really dramatic when she walks in? Put on Lacrimosa and sit down and stare at the wall." So he does that, and she walks in. He's like, "Is this working? Is this working? It's working."
I also remember that there's in that scene, there's the part where because he has like an open air part of his.
Yeah.
There's like a part where it just blows air out, so none can get in.
Yeah.
But that things can be passed from outside the bubble to inside, essentially.
Even though it's contaminated.
It's something like that, or however
because I wrote that down.
I'm sure they have to like sanitize it before passing.
There's something that happens in
the
film.
with the bubble suit.
Yes, with the bubble suit.
But we'll get to that. But he has this open air, and Gene asks him, "How does it work?" And he's like, "Oh, that's about his." She's like, "Ugh." He's like, I can't get showers," and she's like, "Well, doesn't it smell?" And he's like, "No germs, no smell." And I'm like, I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how it works either.
I think like sweat smells without germs. But
yeah, I don't think sweat isn't germs.
Yeah, if sweat was germs, we'd be in. I mean, it can spread germs, but
if we want to get into the whole germology of things, we all have our own germs.
Yes,
it's just that his germs don't kill his.
We create our own biomes.
Yeah, we create our own biomes. So our own biomes smell. So even though they're not germs that would harm him because they're his own germs, they would still smell.
Yes.
And he would be able to tell that they smell.
But yes.
Although eventually it would stink so long that his nose would acclimate to it.
Yeah.
So to him, he probably doesn't know that he smells. But to everybody else, he smells really bad.
Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. We're talking about this one scene
Todd's
for a while.
An idiot.
We've been talking about this one scene for a while.
Yeah.
We cut to another classroom scene.
Where they're taking a test.
They're taking a test.
And Todd, again...
back to that scene. The final thing that's said is Gina says she got rejected from the school she wants to go to for college.
Well...
Because her grades are bad.
Sorry, not sorry.
And Todd, having done nothing but read books about space for the past 18 years, apparently, says he can help her learn.
It's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah. The two of them are going to somehow become a person.
Yeah.
Now, finally, to this test scene.
To this test scene. So, Todd, an idiot, who is like, the way he expects to like help cheat is hold up the answers.
Holds up a chalkboard with all the answers on in front of the class.
Everybody can see, not just one of them. And
but seemingly only Gina's the one looking at it.
Which... it's... Okay, I don't believe that for 1 second.
I don't believe it, but the way it's staged in the scene.
Yeah, the way it's
staged.
No
one is looking except for Gina.
Yeah.
Which is not what
the way it's staged, they're making it seem like only Gina's looking at it, but there's no fucking way she was the only one. Which begs the question then. You know, in the 70s, there's one goody two-shoes nerdy kid that's like, Mr. Smith, Todd's holding up the answers on the TV.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
But that doesn't
teacher just
happen.
turns around and sees it.
Because Todd's still holding up. He's not like looking to make sure
he's
that
holding up in front of his eyes.
So he can't see.
And
so he's like, Todd, what are you doing?
And he's like, I'm done.
I'm done.
And the teacher's like, well, wait to hold up your answers until I say so.
Yeah, teacher didn't suspect it at all. Probably because he felt bad because he's a boy in a plastic bubble.
And then next thing you know, he and Gina have the exact same test results, and the teacher's like, it's fine.
That's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, they both probably got Fs because they're both idiots.
Yeah.
I don't think Todd is smart. I think it's the blind leading the blind.
I mean, he's a child.
So then after that, if I'm not mistaken, Todd is going to suntan.
Well, first he convinces his parents to take a vacation.
Yes.
He says, the nurse can watch me.
Can the nurse?
You will go on a vacation, and the parents are, skeptical, but they decide they're going to go with it.
It's in every other teenage movie where you would expect the protagonist to throw a rager at their house.
But he can't because he's trapped in a bubble.
But can you imagine if that was the direction they took it, right? Because of imagine what his rager would look like. It's like everyone step through this contamination thing.
Step through the contamination zone.
Here's a germ-free liquor and all that stuff.
You gotta wear the suit.
They're all wearing these giant suits and stuff, just trying to be clean. So yeah, he convinces his parents to go on a vacation, says the nurse can watch him.
And so the parents do. And then he and Gina are hanging out.
I really want to make sure we don't miss a suntan scene.
Oh no, we're getting to the suntan scene.
Because I have a beef with that.
And he says he's going to go outside, and Gina's like, yeah, let's do that. And then he's just staring at her.
Yep.
And she looks at him and says, the way you look at me sometimes. And it's like, yeah, we're all thinking it.
We're all thinking it.
Todd, you got to chill.
He's really got to chill.
Guy's very creepy.
Because he is
the horniest character I've ever seen put to screen.
He's got the fuck me eyes.
He's such a weirdo.
He's very weird, and I don't know if it's because of Travolta
and then
or
you know
if he's
what
just
happens?
doing it really well.
He's gonna suntan. You know what the nurse does while he's outside in his bubble? She gets drunk and
falls asleep. All according to Todd's plan, obviously.
What is this nurse?
But my beef with the suntanning scene is, can Todd get sunburned? Health wise?
I would assume through the bubble he would just get hot. I don't think it would tan because you can't really get burnt through a window.
Well, it's the UV rays.
Yeah.
That would effectively burn the skin in a way. But would his lack of immunities offer more potential issues with suntanning, like skin cancer or some shit like that?
I don't know. Regardless, he doesn't get tan.
He doesn't get tan. He's still pale this entire movie.
He's pale the entire movie.
Because Todd actually died 12 years ago. He was actually a ghost.
And Gina is riding her horse around, as she does.
Oh, I love this scene.
And he's like, jump me.
Jump over me. Jump over me, Gina. He says it so weird, though.
He's like, jump over me, Gina.
He's like, I don't know if I can do that. It's like, what about the cord?
Yes.
It's like, it'll be fine.
He's like, it'll be fine. The velocity of whatever. So Gina just does it.
It successfully.
Jumps the horse over him. The nurse sees it and like flips out, but does nothing about it.
But what if she didn't jump over it? What if like the horse like
crashed into it,
and he literally like tumbles over?
Yeah. That would be the end of the movie.
It probably should have ended that way.
Inspired by his time with Gina and all that, when his parents get home, he tells them he wants to go to school.
Yeah.
And how's he going to do that? He's going to dress up as an astronaut.
Spaceman.
Like his hero Buzz Aldrin.
Spaceman Todd.
He's going to put on an airtight suit and just go for it.
Yeah.
So they got this ridiculous orange spacesuit that he's going to wear.
Yeah.
His doctor gives it to him. And he goes to school. He walks in very confidently.
Yep.
Sits in the back of the class next to Gina in this spacesuit.
Yep.
He has like a little bubble section put aside. Also, apparently only go to this one classroom. We never see them anywhere else.
Not really, no.
And
but have we seen the bubble that they built?
Yeah,
for
like
his
in
desk?
the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has like
his own
2 desks. He has a desk in a bubble so he can be out of the suit, and then one outside when he's in the bubble suit.
When he's in the suit.
In the spacesuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's happy.
And the students are pretty nice to him so far.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't come across a number of bullies too much.
Yeah.
It seems like Gina's friends sort of take to him a little bit.
Yeah. And he his doctor, before he walks in, says, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get in the room? Because he's told he has to like recharge the suit and refill it with air.
Yeah.
And John Travolta, in a hilarious delivery, the doctor's like, what are you going to do when you get in the classroom? And John was like, first thing I do is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, fuck face.
And he goes into school and he does the Pledge of Allegiance. Someone asked him, how do you use the bathroom? And he reveals
same way the astronauts do it. Oh, it's just like
he just shits in the suit.
He just shits in the suit.
He just shits in the suit.
Yep.
Which you would assume he could just try and hold it until he could get the suit off.
I mean, I've had to go entire days in school without pooping. It's possible.
I feel like most people have.
Most people have.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not until you're really
he
desperate.
just wants to
feel normal
in the suit. and then they say it only lasts for like an hour. You can only walk around for like an hour.
That was 90 minutes.
90 minutes, that's it.
And plus, like, I think they allude to, like, if he does vigorous exercise, it might even be shorter than
it'll
that.
use up his air faster.
Yeah, which leads
so it's like
us...
90 minutes is a long period of time.
Not really. That's like one class period.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to charge in between every class period, which could be plausible.
Yeah. So he'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, though? Is that I realized at this point in the movie is that the prime stream of this has VHS ripples in it. So they just like took a VHS tape and uploaded it.
I love it.
Truly love it.
I don't know if I remember seeing that on the YouTube one, but maybe that might have just been Prime.
It definitely adds to the charm of this movie being a product of 1976.
Yeah, definitely. So is this when we get to the football scene?
Yeah, yes, we get to the football and push-up challenge.
The push-up challenge.
The push-up challenge. He has a battle of masculinity with Gina's boyfriend, whose name I cannot remember.
I can't remember it either.
But they have a battle for Gina's soul because it is 1976 and women in movies aren't allowed to have agency apparently.
Well, apparently, like this entire conversation of the football field, he's like putting on this act like he's from a different planet or something like that.
Oh yeah, he says he's from the planet of Thermopolis.
It
is so strange.
And they're just going along with it.
He's like, yeah, I'm from the planet of Thermopolis.
First thing in my mind,
that's how I know.
First thing in my mind would be school shooter. Like
he's so strange.
He is very strange, and saying he's from a different planet. Like I'm getting a lot of school shooter vibes, and so that's when then he says, and, like I was gonna call him Tim, boyfriend of Gina. Tim, the people on my planet are a lot stronger than regular humans. Like this is how he's saying it to the boyfriend. He's like, the people on my planet are like stronger than normal humans. I bet you I could do more push-ups than you. And he's like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah. Like, and so then they do a push-up contest.
Like, I don't want to be like mean. I keep saying this, but I understand he grew up in a plastic bubble. I understand that's how they're writing him. They want him to like not know how to exist in society. But there's a fine line between not existing in society and just walking into class and be like, yeah, I'm from a different planet called Thermopolis. All I want is Gina, and how I'm going to get her is by beating you in a push-up contest.
I mean,
he could just have been walked into the school, gone to class, and been like, hey, push-up challenge, bro, you and me.
But instead like,
there's this whole business with
Thermopolis. Say that he's an alien, which we know it's a bit, but it's a terrible bit.
Yeah.
It's not a good bit at all.
And the rest of the kids can't tell if he's being serious or not. Like, they know he's not.
And they're too nice to like.
They can't tell if he thinks he's doing a bit, or if they're like, oh, is this guy really thinking?
And God forbid if they push him, because they do, they're going to get an Independence Day, scenario happening. They don't want to be thrashing around and says, I got to go to the hospital.
So he has this push-up contest.
He has a push-up contest,
and he wins because
they do the claps.
Yeah, they do the claps.
They do the clap push-ups where every time
as we saw earlier, he exercises by dancing in his room to disco every day, otherwise known as his prep for Saturday Night Fever.
Of course.
And he's like dancing in his room, and it gets him in shape for this push-up contest,
right?
Which he wins. But it exhausted his air supply. He's beeping. He's choking.
He's beeping.
It's like when he was a baby again. he's wheezing.
No air. And he starts running, but he's tripping. He can't get there. And like
Gina rushes him back to the school.
Gets him.
She has a real care for him. She's pushing him through and gets him to his
personal bubble.
To his personal bubble in the classroom.
Gets all of his outfit off.
Where they push him through the bubble in his suit, and he gets the suit off and breathes again.
And he sits down at his desk and he's like hyperventilating.
The thing is, I think you have the same problem. And this was actually pointed out by one of the kids this movie is based on. Mm-hmm. I believe David Vedder, who watched the movie and said, yeah, if he walked in there with the suit would have...
The suit's contaminated.
The suit's contaminated, and he just contaminated the whole space.
Yep. So,
anyway, he doesn't get sick.
But then on top of that,
it's a big one where I was like,
On top, what I wrote down was after that push-up contest and after the whole fiasco where he had to run back to his bubble, they had actually bet $10 on that. And so the boyfriend then hands him $10 and he just grabs it and takes it into his bubble. And like, are we just...
Money is the most like contaminated thing.
Yeah. So I'm convinced Todd died from that $10.
Yes. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $10.
Yeah.
I hate myself.
So we cut to we're away from the school, right? Because he tells Gina, please don't tell my dad.
Yeah, don't tell my dad about either the horse jump or me almost dying.
Yeah.
Due to a push-up contest to prove I have a better dick than whatever his name is.
Tim. We don't know if his name is Tim.
It's whatever his name is.
Jeff.
He's sir not appearing in this film.
Yeah.
But they graduate next, right? It just kind of goes right because like this movie is a TV movie, so it has to be like 90 minutes on the dot.
Right.
So it just cuts from that to their graduation.
Yep. And they're calling up the names.
They get to him, Todd, whatever his name is,
and he's just nowhere to be found. And they're like,
and his parents are very concerned.
It's like, where'd he go? Where is he? And
then
Todd.
I was wheezing, and he bounds around.
He's running again
in this huge spacesuit.
Yep,
with the cap and gown like
wrapped
around the outside of it,
with like the cap obviously stapled.
Yeah, like
to the
stapled
top.
To his head.
Yep.
And he runs up and he grabs the diploma and he throws it in the air, and everyone stands up and applauds. It is such a hilarious
They're
scene.
like, yay, you're going to be dead in 2 years.
Like it's cute. I get it, but it's a little much.
It's a little much.
It's a little much.
Little bit much. I wrote down running again.
Yeah.
Like, have we not learned from our first mistake?
And he's very excited in that moment. Everyone's excited for him. And then we go back to his house and he's sad again.
He's sad.
He is sad. He's like, I can't go outside. And his doctor's like, Todd, if you go outside, you'll probably die. And he's like, do you know that?
Like, how soon will I die? Will I die instantly? Will it be a few hours?
He's like, He's like, do I have any immunity? And the doctor's like, you might have a little now, but you're still young.
Yeah.
Todd would be an anti-masker in today's society.
He would be an anti-masker.
He's just like, why shouldn't I go outside? And I'm like, well, you may die. And he's like, yeah, but besides that.
He would probably try to go into a restaurant without a mask and be like, it's my right. It's my right.
It's my right to leave my house. And what does he do? He talks to his parents about it and the doctor, and they're like, you shouldn't go. And the next morning he wakes up before his parents and he leaves the bubble.
Without any protective gear. He does it so dramatically where he looks between that yellow line between his, because the open doorway where the air is pushing out, he's able to just walk out of there. So he's looking down and he's contemplating. And then he takes that leap of faith and he's like, oh.
And he breathes the outside air.
Breathes the outside air.
And then this extremely sappy Paul Williams song starts playing where it's like, what would they say?
Copyright, Jeff.
If we up and ran away.
Okay, copyright.
That's fair use. That's fair use.
That's
this
fair
is for
use.
criticism purposes.
Yeah.
So that just starts playing. What would they say? And it's like this, the same like 4 lines repeated. He just goes outside and walks up to Gina, who's like sitting on the beach.
We can't forget when he opens the outside door to his house and steps out, and he's wearing his white, lacy silk shirt or whatever, like he's Jesus coming back from the dead. And I'm just like, what the heck religious overtones is this? Like, and then he like touches a leaf and eats it. He doesn't eat it. I wanted him to eat it so badly. Just like take a leaf and just eat it.
He's like, is this food?
It would be very reminiscent of the very beginning of the movie when he eats the eye of the teddy bear. Like, it's like, of course Todd
and he chokes on it and
would
dies.
just eat anything.
But he walks up to Gina and she's like, Todd. She's like, what are you doing?
I'm out of my bubble.
He's like, I love my bubble. And then he and Gina hop on her horse.
Yeah.
That we still don't know where it came from. And they ride off through the mountains.
Through the mountains.
And we get to a wide shot of this horse just galloping with the 2 of them on it with this Paul Williams song blasting. What would they say if we up and ran away? It's blasting, and then the credits start rolling. And Todd has officially, my man's willing to die of an infectious disease.
Yeah.
To get 1 day of action.
The movie doesn't like abruptly say Todd dies.
Do you know what the tagline for this movie is?
No.
A lifetime of loneliness or 1 day of love.
Oh, so he's only alive for a day.
I mean, I assume the tagline's pretty much saying, is it worth to live a life lonely? Or is it, or like, do you want to just have 1 day of happiness before you die? And it's like, why not both?
Why not both?
Why can't he just, get better
laid.
Protective equipment?
Get laid.
I mean, that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
But he just bears all.
He wants to get laid, Jeff.
Really badly.
Really badly. And the movie doesn't...
And he's willing to die to do
the movie
so.
doesn't abruptly say, like, Todd's going to die. But we all know he's going to die.
As the Wikipedia entry for this movie says... it's not the Wikipedia entry. It's something else where it's like, the movie ambiguously leaves. Does he live or does he die?
He dies. He 100% dies.
He probably does not make it out.
No, he 100% dies.
But that's all stuff that happens after the movie.
Yeah.
It is a crazy movie.
It is.
I mean, it's your classic, like, sappy 70s TV movie. But
yes.
At the same time, it's all just... Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for his first starring role, I thought the movie itself was okay.
Yeah, it's trying to go for this... it's trying to be a romance. It just comes out being creepy.
Weird. John Travolta...
this guy who just really feels like he needs to have sex.
Well, I have a question for you, Jeff. Yeah. Do you think John Travolta was playing the role too well or not well enough?
Oh, I think he was doing something we'll run into a lot in his later career, where he thinks he's doing one thing and he's doing another.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I would say, because there were a lot of moments when I'm just like especially the Independence Day beach scene was what really got me. I was like, do you mean it, Gina? Do you mean it? And I'm like, why are you fucking talking like that? You're an 18-year-old teenager. Like, what?
Travolta is a color is a paintbrush.
He is a paintbrush.
He needs a good artist controlling where he goes.
Yeah.
If he is left to his own devices, things will get a little dicey, as we will see very shortly in the future.
Yeah. So, what a movie, though. Well, how would you rank it amongst what we've talked about so far?
Like I said, I don't hate this movie.
I don't hate it
as
either.
much as I've said about it being like a movie about an incel. It's creepy.
Which it is.
He needs to not try and be willing to die just to get laid. Besides that, it's fun. It's kind of a nice throwback.
Yeah.
I don't have too much else to say about it besides that. It's.
Would you put it above or below Devil's Reign?
Oh, it would be below Devil's Reign. Devil's Reign rules. We've talked about this.
Okay.
I am glad we actually had John Travolta stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, right.
Because he's actually in this movie.
Now we actually get to talk about a leading role
spent
John Travolta.
3.5 hours of podcasting
Talking
where
about,
we barely talk about the subject of the podcast.
Some people might say those are our best episodes.
Anyway, let's go into this movie has a weirdly sizable impact.
Yeah.
I would think it's just a movie that doesn't exist. Like, you just forget about it. It happened. Mm-hmm. The impact section of it on Wikipedia starts with the sentence, "Days after Bill Clinton was inaugurated as president." Doesn't have too much to do with Bill Clinton, but
no, it doesn't.
This movie has multiple paragraphs written about people who've inspired a song on a Paul Simon album. It was used in a political memoir about Ronald Reagan. They mentioned The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. There's a Family Guy episode about it. There's a Simpsons episode about it. It's mentioned several times on That 70s Show.
Didn't this get remade too?
They did. They made a version of it. Well, not a remake, quote unquote, but they made a version of it called Bubble Boy.
Bubble Boy.
Who's also the SpongeBob character, not to be confused easily. Bubble Boy.
Bubble Boy, the sidekick of Mermaid Man.
But yeah, there's apparently a Dance Moms song that's inspired by it.
Jeez, this really did make an impact for a 1976 TV movie.
Yeah. Mentioned on NCIS. Real crazy. Some of the stuff that this movie would go on. Yeah. And I mean, it's being talked about now on this podcast, 44 years later?
45 years later.
Yeah. Well, 43. Wait, 44.
It's 1976. It's 2021.
45. I pointed at Stuart for that.
Yeah. But Bubble Boy, that one
came
out in 2001. That was 19 years ago. And I remember seeing
We
that
are
movie.
falling apart before my very eyes.
Yes. Wow.
But that's The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. Afterward, Travolta would be very pleased with the performance. It did very well ratings-wise, review-wise. It was nominated for a few Emmys.
Really?
Yes. One of them was won by Debbie. I keep saying Debbie. Diana Hyland playing his mom, who actually is rather fabulous in this movie.
Pretty good.
She doesn't give too much to work with past the 20-minute mark. Mm-hmm. But what she does have, she does a very good job with.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate, a posthumous Oscar. She passed away in advance.
Yeah.
But I'm happy it got a little bit of recognition. It's a well enough made movie.
And it was also nominated for Outstanding Writing in a Special Program for a drama original teleplay, and it was nominated Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Achievement in Film Sound Editing for a special.
I feel like everything gets nominated for sound editing. I click on a TV show that
it's got
one person in the world has ever watched, and it's nominated for 5 Emmys for Best Original Sound Editing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that, but yeah,
it's like the award the Emmys give everything that they couldn't nominate for something else.
Right.
No disrespect to the sound artists who I'm sure did a fine job.
It's just a lot of different categories too.
But it is quite the category.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So should we wrap this up, Jeff?
We'll wrap it up. What time are we at?
We are at about an hour and 10.
All right, we got to make this last another 50 minutes. Anyway, so this movie starts.
Wait a minute.
With, this movie starts. We're on a front lawn. Diana Hyland and Robert Reed are hanging out A doctor comes up to them.
I'm not letting this take place.
No.
I'm stopping the recording.
No.
Thank you, folks.
No, we're not done. I got a little more to talk about.
Keep going. We just talked about the Emmy Award nomination stuff.
We talked about the Emmy Award nomination. I mean, I wrote.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to drag this on as long as possible.
Why are you trying to drag this on?
Because the people got to listen.
Okay.
The film is in the public domain, as we said.
It is in the public domain.
Yeah. I'm so loopy today.
I could tell.
Yeah, I'm a little unhinged today. Maybe our worst episode yet.
Shut the hell up. Shut up. I don't think it's our worst episode yet.
I mean, out of 3.
If you guys think this was our worst episode, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and let us know.
I'm of course missing. I hope that you folks had a good time listening to this episode. Let's talk about The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. It's a movie. It exists. You should watch it.
It's for free.
It's about an incel who's trapped inside during essentially a global pandemic in his own life.
And he wants to fuck.
Yeah, if you want to be reminded of how awful 2020 was,
watch The Boy in the
Plastic Bubble.
Truly horrendous.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Next week we'll have an episode on Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
A great movie that I actually have a lot to talk about.
I would love talking about this movie.
Yes, a movie that we will definitely not be talking about within the next 20 minutes.
No.
It is as a heads up to everyone, at the time of this recording, which is January 27th of 2021.
Yeah.
It is not available for free on any streaming service. You do unfortunately have to rent or buy it. But just giving anyone who's listening a heads up as to how they can watch these movies. Boy in the Plastic Bubble, as we said, is available for free online.
Yeah. Saturday Night Fever, if you haven't watched it, it's worth the rental fee.
Yeah. Boy in the Plastic Bubble, the superior film. No, I'm kidding.
Jeff is kidding. He said he was kidding. I have it on record.
I'm falling apart.
Let's wrap this up, boy.
Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us a like, a rating, a review. It genuinely does help, and we really do appreciate it. You can find us at Travolting Pod on Twitter or Instagram for updates and fun stuff, or if you want to cyberbully me. You can pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting, if you want a discussion about any of the movies we talked about or anything like. If you have any questions or comments you don't want in a public forum, you can email us travoltingpodcast@gmail.com. Get your woes out that way. You can find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney. Find Stu.
I don't have Twitter. I just have an Instagram at Stuart Elmore 95.
At Stuart Elmore 96. Got it. And finally, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design and Michael Van Bodegum Smith for our theme. Stuart's giving me the death eyes
hold the
right
phone.
now.
It's at Stuart Elmore 95, not 96.
Stuart is giving me the death eyes today.
I need you to wrap this up.
What if this episode lasted for another 30 minutes?
Hey, we rented the studio space for 3 hours, and we're running that up right now. The manager's going to kick us out pretty soon, so got to wrap things up.
From one space traveler to another, it's a real honor. The honor is mine.
All right, thanks.
This is the Optimus cast.
Thanks, everybody.
No, have a great week, everyone. Hope you tune in next week.
Saturday Fever next week. Bye bye.